Welcome to the SB Fantasy Football Podcast. And welcome to the inaugural episode of the SB Fantasy Football Podcast with your pals Alan and Rapid Dave. I'm Alan.
I guess I'm Rapid Dave.
You guess or you are? I'm so confused.
Allegedly. I'm that guy.
Oh, man. Well, it might not be true then if we're talking allegedly. I don't know. But welcome to the podcast all about fantasy football.
Yeah. This is a welcome video.
This is our first episode of it. Traditional audio only podcast, which is something that's kind of new to us. We've always done the video with all of our stuff, but we're branching out. This is a Strikeout Beer production.
Getting back to our roots.
Might call it, right?
Getting back to our roots.
So what can people expect from this? Like, what are we looking to do with this? What do we want to put out there with this?
I feel this is going to be, we're PPR guys, right? So most of the stuff we talk about is PPR. Also, we're going to mix in some DFS, and then we're going to have some Dynasty stuff from Alan, because Alan is in a Dynasty league. He's got more information about the Dynasty layouts and things like that. I play a little bit more DFS, but then also, like I said, we're going to pump so much PPR, and that's what's going to actually drive this podcast, right? We're going to. It's going to be a weekly show, if not a bi-weekly, or not bi-weekly, but twice a week. It's going to have some updates.
I definitely think you're going to have a few episodes a week. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and throw this out there right now. Like, here's our inaugural episode, our first episode. I already have the second episode recorded.
Oh, nice.
I've already recorded it.
Nice.
I'm going to be talking about some rookies I'm excited about this year. I think my top 5 rookies I'm excited about. But then we're also going to go ahead and start doing breakdowns of teams.
Nice.
And there will be some teams that we do together.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some teams that we each do on our own.
Yeah.
As well as other stuff. We'll get into positional breakdown, sleeper picks, avoid players, don't draft players, because I think your avoid players and your don't draft players are definitely two different tiers of players.
Mm-hmm.
There are some players that you avoid, but if you get them at a certain value, you're like, okay, well, I'll take them.
Well, finally,
right?
Yeah.
You know, like last year, like Alvin Kamara was a player that I was avoiding, but when I'm sitting there in the 5th or 6th round and he's still there, I'll take him at that value. Right. It's a lower value. I'll definitely go ahead and take him. Michael Thomas was a player that I ended up keeping in the league, in my Dynasty league, because he was 1 point.
Yeah.
So the risk versus the reward was there. Mm-hmm. So there'll be a lot of stuff like that. Once the season starts, Waiver Wire Tuesday will be a thing where I talk about, hey, these are players you need to target on a weekly basis. We'll talk DFS every week. We'll talk sit, start, things like that. So this will definitely be a show that there'll be a lot more episodes out there once the season starts, but a lot of content between now and then too.
I would say so, right? The draft's already happened. Now you're looking at, let's get ready. OTAs are around the corner, and then you're going to have preseason games. We're going to do our rankings as soon as we can, and we'll get to those. But you have to, these audio recordings will be anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. Could be 20. We could be sitting down and having a conversation for 30 minutes. It wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary, because, we used to go 90 minutes with no problem at all talking about fantasy football, because you could talk about it all day, especially during the season or right before the season starts.
I can talk about it all day right now.
Exactly.
Like, I'm actually getting ready to record an episode for Talking Lines with Alan that is going to be fantasy football related in regards to Jared Goff. I saw a question out there that said, will Jared Goff be a top 5 fantasy football quarterback? I'm going to address that in my Talking Lions podcast, and we'll eventually address that on the SB Fantasy Football podcast when we talk about the Lions and we talk about quarterbacks and things like that. So
definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, getting back to our roots. This whole show, the Strikeout Beer, it originated by having a couple drinks and talking fantasy football, and now we're just removing the drink portion of it. We're going to sit there and talk about fantasy football. We're going to do our waiver wire action thing, like you said, start, sit. I mean, it could be everything just encompassing of a fantasy football season, because you know how stressful it can be.
it's very stressful. We'll talk about Tinker Stinkers. I mean, just there's going to be so many things. Once fantasy football season starts, there's going to be a ton of content out there for it, but also leading up to the fantasy football season. There's so many things that, like, again, I've already recorded an episode, and we're just starting the podcast right now. So we'll drop this tomorrow, and then a day or two later, I'm gonna drop my rookies episode. You know, we'll record an episode every week, me and you, before the Wednesday show for Strikeout Beer. But then we'll both do stuff on our own. So there's just going to be a lot of content coming to you, a lot of things. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, just make sure those noties are on. We're both champions of previous leagues and things like that. We've won belts, we've won titles, we've won trophies, we've won money.
I win a league every year.
Yeah,
I'm in several leagues, and I win at least one of them every year.
Mm-hmm. So that's what you get to look forward to. We're going to throw some stats at you. We're going to throw some feels, some gut feels, some. It all comes down to it. Like what do you think? What do you think?
Gut.
And it's
right.
Trust the gut.
Yeah, especially at the beginning of the season, there's a lot of gut stuff going on, but definitely looking forward to it, guys. Can't wait. It's gonna be a fun season. Can't wait.
Last year I tried to play it. I tried to downplay it, and then I think this year I'm going to go overboard and just being just 10 leagues, if not 15,
being like 40 leagues. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm good.
We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening to SB Fantasy Football Podcast.